Hello and welcome to this new episode of Open Book Entrepreneur. Today we have Angela here with us, and she's a sex therapist and also wrote a book and also has a number of other businesses. So, Angela, please introduce yourself to our audience.
Hi, I'm Angela Skurtu, and I am with the Open Bedroom Doors. That's my website's openbedroomdoors.com. And yeah, I'm a sex therapist, and all of my business are really under that main umbrella, and they serve that work as a sex therapist.
Absolutely. So what actually inspired you to get into this line of business?
So it's funny, I always knew I wanted to be a business owner. I actually knew I wanted to get in business long before I figured out sex therapy was my game. But during the time that I was figuring out what I wanted to do in business, I actually found this woman. She was a nurse on a TV show, Sue Johansson. I don't know if you've ever heard of her, but she was basically answering questions from audience members, and she would play with sex toys and give them ratings. So she was the original emoji giver. Like
Mhm.
she'd give a sex toy so many burquettes. And I was like, I'm going to do that. That sounds hilarious.
Great stuff. Yeah, absolutely. So what's actually now the job of sex therapist? What do you do with people?
Well, that's where I mentioned that I kind of have a few businesses. So every business is in service to a main business of being a solopreneur as a sex therapist. And so I do see clients in office. I do couples retreats. I have an event coming up on February 14th called Dinner with a Sex Therapist. And essentially, whether it's writing books, so I have three books. I'm writing books that are teaching people about sexuality or sexual health. If I'm speaking, so I have a speaking business, then it's all topics about desire discrepancy, infidelity, and now business ownership has become one of my topics, which is it's funny, but I've been in business since 2012. So I've done this long enough that I'm teaching other therapists how to run their business too.
Excellent. Yeah, that's really good. So what's your plan or goal for next 1 year?
So the next year, I'm really looking at ways in my business to not just be the only person. So like I'm creating teams and situations where my work can be making money without me being there. I think as a solopreneur, you kind of get used to doing everything yourself. And I've learned the importance of radical collaboration. So some of these businesses that I'm starting that are more group focused, like the dinner with a sex therapist, I've already started to pull in partners. So it's not just me by myself, but it's me with other people. Or with the couples retreat, I've teamed up with like a massage therapist and um someone else, so a tantric practitioner. So that like we're kind of creating like groups and like trainings that don't necessarily always have to be me present. Because ultimately in business, I know that like part of business is that it's not just you, but like it can be you like not there and it running itself.
Yeah, absolutely. That's true 100%. Now, so what's one of the main tips that you can actually share with our audience if they're running different businesses like you are? And
Mhm.
yeah.
Well, one tip that I am doing business consulting for therapists, and one recent tip I gave him is actually around networking. So most of my cool opportunities have come through networking, meeting someone like you, actually, Tony, or different persons in different fields. So one thing I tell people to do is network outside of your field, so you're getting to know a bigger span of people. But also, I don't think people know how to network effectively. So a tip for networking is you're building a relationship. But even if you like are, so here in Missouri, there are these groups where you can keep going to the same networking space and like a community. So networking isn't always for selling. Networking is for building relationships and sometimes testing ideas in real time. So how I've been able to have some successful books or successful ideas is that I didn't just come up with them in my brain. Like I interact with other people, I brainstorm, and I connect with others, and like I actually can test it with real live audiences before I try to sell them. And that is one of the tips I would give people who are starting businesses is instead of just being in your head like I like this idea and then trying to sell it, actually be in groups of people where you can see is this person interested? Like, do people lean in, like, ooh, what do you want to do? Or do you find people kind of like, eh, they don't care? Like, you could literally be testing your ideas before you try to sell them and before you lose money.
Totally. And as a sex therapist, like, what do you help your clients with?
Yeah. So my two most common topics are desire discrepancy and infidelity. So for desire discrepancy, it's funny, I've been doing that work for 20 years and I literally have the same couple, like it shows up a little differently. But the couple is a female that's overworked, doing everything and tired and somewhat dissociated from her body, like disconnected from sexual pleasure. And then a male who only seems to be able to use sex to connect emotionally. And he essentially he's trying to solve everything by throwing money at it or by like saving their sex life, but he doesn't have access to other emotional experiences. And that couple just repeats again and again in different forms. And so essentially what I have to teach them both to be is whole people. Like he can be an emotional person and she can be a sexual person. And here, I know in Germany, you guys actually have sex ed, right? Like there's real sex education in your country. In our country, there isn't. And so, like, basically, they do this class where they split the girls and the boys up in young elementary school, but we never bring them back together. And so they essentially never learn how to talk to each other. And that's my job on repeat, is teaching them how to talk to each other.
Okay, okay, wonderful. So, yeah, I mean, you pretty much like described it in such a clear way. So what's the one piece of advice you could give, like, for example, to the men in this situation and to the women in that situation?
Well, it's funny. The guys want to come see me as soon as possible. They always ask me, what do I need to do to get my wife to see you as a sex therapist? So for the man, I would start like tender and soft and say you want to build your friendship with your partner, which he always wants to build his sex life. But women, when you say sex to them or a sex therapist, they're terrified. Like, we're going to do what? And
What's wrong with me?
what's funny is I'm also a marriage therapist. I think also in the United States, there's a stigma around therapy. So I am selling like a very taboo thing. But so as a man, say you want to build your friendship. And if you're a woman, actually just say I'm a sex therapist and he'll say yes. Like it's not, they're like, we're gonna see who? Like I would, so my events for Valentine's Day,
Yeah.
I learned like my new marketing strategies. I really need to get the women to buy in because the men were like, they were like, yeah, what are we doing? There's a sex therapist? Okay, we'll go. Like there was no like hesitance, but they're terrified to bring it up with their wives. Like, I want to see this sex therapist. I want to go to your event. And so if I can just like get the women kind of excited, like you're just gonna have fun. It's like Galentine's with your husband then like they drag their husbands and the husbands pretend to be like, oh, what are we doing? But they really want to come.
Great stuff. Okay, excellent. So, and then if people want to actually get in touch with you, learn more about you, how they can do that?
Yeah, so you can submit a contact form at openbedroomdoors.com.
Okay, openbedroomsdoors.com. Wonderful. I can share the link in the description of this episode as well. And yeah, just before we go, obviously, if there is any questions that maybe I didn't ask you, anything you would like to share with our audience.
Yeah, I just realized I don't want them to forget I have a show. So I have the Open Bedroom Doors show on e360tv.com that airs every Thursday at 9 p.m. Central. And actually my last episode, I had a hilarious I have this really cool studio I work with and so I had an action hero character, Action Angela, saving the world one bedroom at a time on my last episode. So if you want to
So,
see fun sexual stuff but in a playful fun way, check out that show.
yeah, sounds interesting. We'll check it out for sure. Yeah. So thanks a lot for being a guest today. Thank you for sharing your story and knowledge and tips. And thank you all for watching and listening to this episode. If you liked it, drop us a like, subscribe, and also share it with your friends and family. If you have any questions for Angela or me, you can ask them in the comments, and we'll be more than happy to answer them. Angela, thank you so much again. Yeah.
Thank you.